You can do whatever you want, Joe. He doesn't know. Joe, if you lick your fingers on camera, we'll probably get like 10 more views. Joe, if you lick your fingers on camera. Oh, I don't want to hear that playback. That's awful.
Usually my OnlyFans subscribers get to see that.
Yeah. It's been rough times on that because, the race reviews have been pretty rough.
I need a new motor.
Yeah. I thought you were just going to say a motor. You need a motor.
I need a motor.
Yeah, because you haven't been driving.
We'll be racing here. We should be racing here probably in about 3 weeks. I think this week is the motor should be done, and then we'll get it all put together.
Whenever I need a new motor, I just hit the escape key, and it takes me back to the pits.
Yeah. Then you get Black Flag.
Yeah.
Well, welcome in, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is 9:01 Eastern time, so hopefully you're having a wonderful day. And we're live here for the race recap. So let's go ahead and play the vid of the guy that did not win the race. Welcome in, everyone. That race recap video is only there for my therapy to remind myself that Kyle Busch can actually win in an RCR car. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful evening. Joe is filled to the brim with Cheetos. Joe, how you doing this wonderful Sunday evening?
Excellent. Hey, brother. Anyway, no video played there.
It did on my screen.
It did on mine.
What do you...
Well, fuck. All right.
You're high, Joe.
Or it's on those Cheetos.
Yeah,
indeed, I am.
No doubt.
Oh my god.
No, Joe is high on anger. It seems like, even better, Grippos.
Yeah.
Our audience over in Canada is like, what the hell's a Grippo? So yeah,
Salted vinegars, eh?
It's a Cincinnati thing.
Yeah, eat your poutine or whatever that is. Which that sounds like it shouldn't be a food that's edible with kids, but that's neither here nor there. Travis is really excited. He had a nice, wonderful round on the golf course. How did that go, Travis?
Oh, I figured I knew this last year, but I learned that I can't play golf and watch NASCAR, and my concentration is just not good enough for both. You need a lot of concentration in golf, and I like focusing on NASCAR. So we actually, after we played like 5 holes. I hit a ball in the water. We skipped the next 2. We played the last hole, and then I said I'm only going to play 7 holes. And we left so I could go watch NASCAR. My golf game is not very good when it comes to NASCAR races.
Joe and I sentence would have been half of that. I can't play golf, and then there would have been no and then carry on.
No, it would have just been that. Like, I can't play golf.
Erica was there, and she goes, Travis, I'm not here to give you pointers, but you can't golf and watch NASCAR. You got to pick one or the other. She's like, I think you should just golf. And I went, I think we should leave the course.
Yeah.
So we left.
Yeah.
It's like watching NASCAR. That's just
Naturally.
how much more NASCAR means than the golf.
Right.
And now she's pissed off, and you're sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. Well,
No, she wouldn't let me do that.
yeah.
She would follow me to the couch.
Oh. Well, nice.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed it. We actually did have nice weather here in Southern Indiana,
Yeah,
so
very.
it was a nice day to be outside. We also had a decent race where we get to sit here and talk about it. It was chaotic. It was just a whole lot of everything going on. Drivers had you had championship drivers wrecking in practice, and it kind of led its way all the way into today's race. So we'll go ahead and quickly get into the highlights from today's race. So let's go ahead and get that tape rolling.
That was actually me 10 days ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was actually Eric and I 10 days ago.
Oh, some would say that 90% of those cars were driven by women in that video clip there, but I can't confirm or deny that. So besides the bus, of course. So yeah, we had a lot of wrecks, is what I'm getting at, and it was Texas. Texas has somehow been revived. Little did we know we would leave Richmond and Martinsville, look forward to Texas, and Texas delivered. Now, if you're one that enjoys authentic racing and the purity of the sport, today was probably pretty tough because they did not get that. It was trying to survive in the higher groove because, again, we saw that once you follow cars around in this next-gen car, it's impossible to pass. But at Texas, it's impossible to go about a lane and a half higher than the bottom groove. And we saw all kinds of crashing. But it was a good refresher for Texas because I think if this is in the middle of the season, after we had some good races, would have been like, oh, that was kind of crappy. But since we had Martinsville and Richmond, it was like, hey, that was enjoyable that we actually got to see drivers having a hard time racing their vehicles, especially my driver who can't make it through practice at Texas. So, Travis, what was your overall thought on today's race?
Mixed feelings. You know, you sit there and look at the last two races we've had. It was definitely had more of the exciting factor than the last two races. I'm not 100% sold on Texas yet, but I am very much Texas took a direction, took a step in the right direction as far as the excitement factor, as far as, you know, some different strategy. If we're going to be honest with you, the strategy and all the cautions kind of kept everything in a mix where there were some interesting takes with some stuff. So I'm not 100% sold. I think without the cautions, this race was probably, like I texted you guys, it was just another short track with a lot of cautions. There was just not a passing. If you got mired in the back, not a lot happened. So I like I said, mixed feelings. But Texas took the correct step in the right direction when it comes to the entertainment factor. Because I don't know if, you know, they put a stat out there in 2022. I think there was like 16 cautions, but I still remember that race being a dud. So that's what I thought this race showed a little bit more. It showed there was an edge. It reminded me actually a little bit of dirt racing too, because there was definitely an edge to a certain degree. And if you overstep that edge, you were going to
cushion. Yeah.
Once
you hop the cushion, you're done.
Yeah. It came to some of that stuff. So like I said, not sold, but I'm intrigued to see what happens when it's even hotter. And when do they go back? October? When it's even hotter in October, early November, and even
we
slicker.
Going back to Texas? I thought we were one and done.
Was it one and done? I thought we go back to the playoffs.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, they took the race away?
I think that's it. And I think that Texas jockeyed to get their their race moved to a spring race and not a late.
It was so hot. You're right. I think you're right on that. You're right. You're right. You're right. Too many Pepsis today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
I don't even have to fact check that. I just know it's true.
yeah, but like I said, I think actually Watkins Glen, jumped in there. If we're gonna be honest with you in the playoffs, but I think they saw some positive. I thought I saw a tweet out there that said, oh, you guys were complaining about the Atlanta reconfiguration. It turned out good. Texas just took like 2 years longer for it to be better. So I don't know.
7 years ago that it was reconfigured?
I think it was like 2019 when it got reconfigured, or 2018, something like that. 2019. Not a very good job, but like I said, I think if they take out where they put that resin or they put that PJ1 or wherever, like I think if that comes off the track, I think it's even a better track if we're going to be honest with you, because I think they could actually go a little bit higher. But that PJ1 is just so greasy that no one can go up that high. Yeah. I think if they could figure out a way to get rid of that or spray resin on it to just kind of get some other chemical on it, I think we got an even better product.
Joe, what was your thoughts of today's race?
I thoroughly enjoyed this race for the stage and a half. Then I got
stage and a half. To be fair, when they show the little ticker up there, stage 2 was just yellow. There was no like green in it.
Yeah. No, after what we witnessed the last 2 weeks, today was like a breath of fresh air to me. And I know that we had a little group text going, and Travis, you saying that there's not a lot of passing, and there wasn't a lot of passing really, but it was a fun race to watch, because understanding that there was that one lane you can run in, and especially toward the end of the race when people had to start going outside that lane and try. Look at what happened to Denny Hamlin. Look at what happened to Ross Chastain. It was really, it was kind of fun watching these drivers trying to push the limits of where they could be at and just totally losing it. And when I see stuff like that, I feel way better about my iRacing, because I do the same thing.
That's the most important thing, is that you feel better about your own.
I was like, see, I'm not that bad with my 293 iRating.
What? Dude, I think the mushrooms are growing up in Michigan, and Zach just he just pounds a few right before he just jumps on.
I like my hair, Zach.
Yeah,
leave it alone.
Do what Anthony said, Mark. Do the right thing. Be that guy.
Here's my question though: is Texas as good at a race if they followed like Atlanta and Las Vegas and stuff like that?
I said that in my soliloquy, Travis. I said, you don't even listen to me anymore.
I do,
Erica,
listen.
I know what you have to suffer through now, Erica.
I do listen.
I said it's the perfect storm that I got to follow Marshall.
Yeah, and I agree. That's what I mean, though. But
so you're asking a question of my question? Are you questioning my questions?
No, I'm trying to get your input, because you have really good input, Ryan. You have great input.
Sorry. My Peters is inputting into this butt right now, and I apologize. That's on me. So I think, honestly, no. If this did follow Atlanta, we would say that this is not super duper great. But I think at the same time, you put Richmond on Easter because it's not going to be best on TV. You put Texas on Masters weekend because it's not going to be the best on TV. I think these things are planned out to where, you want your spotlight. Like next week, ain't shit going on next week. Nobody's watching the NBA Finals. Guess what we have? Talladega. There's going to be eyeballs back on the TV to watch.
Not a big golf tournament either.
Right. And on top of it, Chase Elliott just won. Now, regardless, and we'll get into that here in a minute, but since Chase Elliott won, the viewership, in my opinion, is going to be higher because
it really, it couldn't have worked out better for Texas either, because I think the Masters ended with about 16 or 17 laps to go in that race.
Yeah.
So you had some carryover viewership that just, was automatically put in to watch that. And what does NASCAR get? They get what looked like an incredible finish to the race, and they got the savior, the NASCAR crown savior, Chase Elliott winning the race. So, I mean, it couldn't have worked out better for Texas or NASCAR this weekend.
Right. No, I that's a good point, Joe. And at the same time, you know, just looking at the way this was run, I told you guys they ran like 7 caution laps when what was it? The second John Hunter Nemechek wreck. I mean, they were doing everything they
was that
could.
green on lap 5.
Yeah,
they heard
that should have been with 5 to go.
They heard Alan Gustafson say, "Hey, we need to save some fuel here. All right, we'll run 7 caution laps for this guy. We got to get a win here from the boy."
That makes me wonder, Joe. Literally, what you're saying, that timeline that we're talking about. They're like, all right, you know, the green jacket ceremony is about wrapped up. Just run like 3 or 4 more caution laps.
Yeah.
Because it make no sense. It was a single car wreck guy backed in. These things don't have parts falling off like our short of Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell literally had pieces of car flying everywhere. This car backs up. You know, there's a little dent in the bumper or something like that, but yet we're still running caution laps for 6 laps.
And it was essentially almost the same wreck as Hamlin's wreck on the first green white checkered there, and they ran 2 caution laps and they win again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was manufactured for sure, but you know, I think NASCAR does that all the time. I mean, didn't Tyler Reddick, I think, hit the wall and came down across the track, and he kept his car going, but I thought there was going to be a caution thrown for that, and there wasn't. So,
right.
You know, they pick and choose and manufacture what they can. And I mean, I think that's with any sport though. So,
right. Yeah, definitely. It gets the conspiracy theorists going that it's all rigged. So,
just like we always talk about, NASCAR's the most inconsistent sport out there.
Yeah. So I did want to, for all you Kyle Larson fans, we got to exclusive footage of Kyle Larson after the race. So I did want to play this for you guys so you can see what he had to say about his race. Tell me when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
The mall, the left rear wheel falls off. It falls off. It falls the fuck off.
I felt like
Kyle Larson said, "I think my tire's going flat." Nope, it's not flat. There it is.
He goes, "I think it just fell off. Actually, yep, the wheel is actually off."
I'm sorry. I love that clip of why when I saw that, that's the first thing that came to my mind as he's driving 2 laps. Was it 2 laps he raced and then?
No, he raced like 10. That's what
10?
made no sense about it. That's what it made no sense about it was like, why did that like fall off and why did it break? And I'd like to, there's going to be public. I would say that they're going to investigate why that happened, but how could he run 10, 12, 13 laps and then under caution it fell off?
Well, didn't the same thing happen to Buescher like 3 or 4 weeks ago? When his tire fell off? Wasn't that something the same way? I'm pretty sure it was, but
it's like, why did that?
No, I don't know. There's plenty of things about the next gen car that's frustrating, and the fact that going to one lug nut has made it infinitely unsafe because the things are just junk. I mean, they're just absolute junk. I never watch a Formula One or IndyCar race, and maybe I'm naive, and go, "Oh, damn, they lost a tire again." I just don't simply ever see it happening. So either we're getting cheap Chinese garbage when it comes to lug nuts or wheel nuts or whatever you want to call it, but it's almost a weekly occurrence now at this point. You know, it's pretty rough.
I mean, when you're watching those other forms of racing outside of IndyCar, but even with IndyCar, I mean, when you watch a pit stop, they got like 70 people over the wall working on the car. You know, and I would say that most of those forms of racing are not doing pit stops in 9 seconds either.
You're right. They do it in 3.
Yeah, because there's 35 people.
And they're about 2,000 pounds less.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. I mean, it shouldn't seem that difficult to get those things on there straight, but
well, sometimes you just see him spinning. Like the Martin Truex one, it just kept spinning. I mean, that dude was pushing it in there and it's just spinning. And he just looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, we're it's over. He's got to come back in."
And it's cool to hear Denny Hamlin talk he talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago when he I forget when he talked about, because he said he got his first. And this was last year at Darlington when he got the loose wheel, his first ever loose wheel, and he said they literally said if he would have held on for a quarter, if he would have hit it a quarter of a second faster, it would have been tight because of that locking pin. But he also said if they go like 0.4 of a second past the locking point, that's where you get them to get stuck. That's where they get the stuck, and they got to pull out the whole torque wrench or cut it off. Like Bubba, 3 weeks ago, and then I think Larson had one 3 weeks ago. Like they are in a 0.7 of a second window where if it's like 2/10 short, it's coming off. If they go 3, 4, 5/10 past what it's supposed to be, you can't get it off. So but someone just said it. I mean, you don't see the Xfinity cars and the trucks all falling off. That's police himself.
Well, Joe and I missed the days where you couldn't get the tire off, like on Eric Jones's car, and you're just like, "Fuck it, we're just going to run the last 100 laps with it on."
Yep.
So, those were the days, and where the tire man became a hero for that because he finally did.
Big boy,
get the thing on.
It was at Michigan. It was at Michigan.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. So now I guess we'll go ahead and keep you waited. We've kept you waiting long enough. Here is the top 15. The winner, Chase Elliott. Ooh, Brad did win his appeal. I'm sorry, I just now noticed that Brad did. He said he was going to talk to NASCAR because they said William Byron was in second, and he said I'm going to talk to NASCAR about that. He goes, I think I got second, and he did. So, congratulations to Brad. Tyler Reddick in fourth, Suarez in fifth. Briscoe hung out in the top 10 most of the day. Bubba Wallace had some speed earlier. Sit down, RCR fans. We had to make a call to get in the top 10 with Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch. Woohoo! And then the other RCR car finished last. And Carson Hocevar in 10th. Some notable mentions. People that were fast in this race. Ross Chastain was fast. Middle of the second stage. Excuse me. Words came really hard there for a second. Second stage, he ends up getting loose and wrecked by Byron. Wasn't Byron's fault. Chastain was completely, I think he was fighting the wheel, and then Byron said, finish him, and he did. And then Denny Hamlin wrecked himself. Ryan Blaney was okay, but then he ended up getting wrecked as well. So anything notable there, Joe, when it comes to the finishing order?
No, other than, Brad Keselowski finally had a decent race and in the top 5 there, setting himself up to win. And then obviously RCR getting 2 in the top 10. That's pretty amazing for them, especially after their practice week went.
Yeah, it was not on speed. They were both running in 30th the entire day because RCR has no speed. They're hot garbage. I almost had a rant prepared for this on how terrible RCR is, but they made the right decisions, man. Pit strategy, their way into a top 10. So, but that I'll save that. Travis, anything that you see out of that top 15 there before we get to the winner?
No, I think it's cool to see Carson. He had an early spin, fought back for a top 10. Like you said, RCR been struggling. They, I think I was Austin Dillon's first glimpse of a top 10. I didn't hear Daniel Suarez all dang day, and there he is finishing 5th.
Yeah, thanks for my cheating top 5. I appreciate it.
Do what?
I cheated. Remember, I didn't take anybody outside the top 20.
That's right. That's right.
You're like, no, it's okay. And I was like, I appreciate it, guys.
You're right. Joe, you missed that.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's cool to see Brad. I think to get that second, his win's coming. They struggled early, so I was up there, but no, I think nothing super unusual besides Austin Dillon finishing 8th. That's probably the most unusual thing of the whole weekend.
Yeah, man. I told you I'd tease you guys if Ty finished above Kyle, and he might have. I don't know. I'm not really worried about seeing if Ty Dillon finished above Kyle.
He did. Don't worry.
That sucks. RCR is slow. I think KB is not the issue. They are just off speed. It's not off speed, zero speed, no speed. Speed does not exist. It is really, really bad. And then Brian replied to Trey, he about 13 or 14 at the racetrack last night. Speaking of Pepsis.
Yep.
Yeah. Just making
We're only like
making that
7.
clear.
We're only like 7 today. I ain't that bad.
What? Why? Are you depressed? Blink twice if you need help. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and get into the winner when it comes to Chase Elliott. Obviously, he stops a streak of not being able to win, did not win last year, makes his way into the playoffs. Domination continues between Hendrick and Joe Gibbs. Hendrick wins another race. Joe Gibbs had another opportunity to win another race. It showed that recently Chase Elliott was fast. I mean, he was getting more and more speed. He talked on the Dale Jr. download how he had to kind of change his driving style when it came to the next gen car. He said he kind of sent the car in really, really hard and would like to come out loose of the turn. And with this car, he's just not been able to do that. He said he and Kyle Busch had similar issues. Obviously, he's been able to correct it, but he also drives a Hendrick compared to RCR. And now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. It was a slow start at the beginning, but Travis, I'll give this question to you, and not to undermine what Chase Elliott did today, but obviously I know you like that rivalry there when it comes to Chase and Kyle Larson on the same team. But is this more of a product of how good Hendrick is right now, or is it Chase Elliott has put in the effort to change his driving style, and today we see the fruits of that labor?
I think it just shows you how good Hendrick is, if we're gonna be honest with you. If Allen doesn't make that call in stage 1 when Chase was running 20th, 22nd, 23rd, and Chase doesn't make and Allen doesn't make that call for him to stay out, then they get that caution. I don't think Chase is going to be the winner today, if we're going to be honest with you, especially how hard passing is. I'm not going to take anything away from him. It's, he was due. He was going to get a win at some point. Chase is a good driver. There's nothing bad about that, but he fought hard there. If you see, that's probably some of the hardest I've seen him race. And sometime he actually looked like it was gonna be first or last. Right. To be honest with you. But I think that just kind of goes to the fact that, Hendrick's on it, making the right calls. They felt like they needed some strategy there. So if it's not one of the other ones, it's Elliott. So, but if you saw how when he got to the front, he was able to go. So, not taking anything away from that, but it's just like you just said, it's between Hendrick and Joe right now. What we at? Hendrick's got what, 5
and 3.
Joe Gibbs got 3, and then Trackhouse has
1. Yep.
So
Easy E Network says Chase is very consistent, but not as fast as Larson. Allen made a great call to stay out, but Chase had a good car at the end, and that gave him a chance to win. His handling was good. Do you agree or disagree with that, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think, obviously, Chase did the work on the restarts. He was very good on those green, white, checkered restarts. So you got to give that to him. But at the end of the day, you put Chase Elliott in an RCR car today, he doesn't win that race. The management of his strategy today had a lot to do with where he was at the end of the race. But I'm not taking anything away from him. That's more than half of any race that you run is how well your race is managed. So, I think, he's definitely one of the top tier drivers in the sport. I'm not going to take anything away from him. Like Travis said, he was due. But where he was at the end of that race was largely due to his crew chief, and I don't want to take any credit away from that guy either. So, Mr. Guffed Up Son, as you call him.
Yeah, goofed up
son.
Yeah.
Well,
and Allen's well respected as much as we tease him. He always back in the day would make calls for stage points versus actually winning the race. And today, I think what you guys are talking about, same thing with Randall Burnett, had to make a call to try to win the race because it wasn't going to happen based upon pure speed, at least early on. And, Travis and I had this conversation, Joe, on the weekly show, that whenever very, very little separates people on the track, it takes something else to get you to victory lane. And today it took the crew chief. I mean, it also took the pit crew. We saw again, on pit lane, Tyler Reddick's their pit crew is absolutely terrible. 2311's pit crew has historically been god awful, since they've had them. And it hurt. It got them back in traffic. He never was able to get back up front cleanly. And I think it just goes to show with this car, man, when there's so little to separate people based upon what they can do by passing and things like that, it relies upon really, really smart people. And as much as we tease, I personally teased about Allen, mainly because we had a Chase Elliott fan on the show. It just goes to show that there's a reason why Rick Hendricks kept him around. There's a reason why he has a championship and why he's been able to, control really, really good drivers. Because it takes a strategy call like that. When part of racing, as you guys know, you don't have to have the fastest car. You just got to put yourself in a position to win. And today, Allen did that. And other players and other drivers and other teams did not put themselves in that position. So, it's a good team win. And I think that's what Chase Elliott fans may take away from it is a good team win. We still haven't seen Chase Elliott dominate anywhere. It just hasn't happened. We've seen Kyle Larson be fast, and he's been dominating stage 1 last 3 weeks, but he's struggled a little bit after that. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, he wins all the boring races where he dominates, but we've not seen that out of Chase Elliott yet. So I don't think he's fully back in terms of before the next gen car, but I'm sure Chase Elliott fans will take this and run away with it because, like you said, Travis, the one move when he made them go 3 wide and just sent it almost below the white line was a very unchased Elliott move. That was the best move he made the entire race by forcing people to get out of his way. And typically that is not something we traditionally see out of Chase Elliott, and he took advantage on the best time to pass, and that was on restarts. For the rest of the week and the news and people following NASCAR, Travis, do you think that this will help the sport? Do you think that now, I mean, we've had this slog of negative weekly talk until we got to Texas. Do you think Chase Elliott winning will drive some positive momentum, or do you think, it is what it is and we move on to next week?
Yeah, I think even just take a step back too. I know Allen's been getting a lot of hate from Chase Elliott fans for some of the calls, like you said, and ill handling cars and this and that. If I was a Chase Elliott fan, I'd be patting Allen on the back a little bit. Hey, nice call right there. Thanks for getting us up there and having a chance for the win. But on what you're talking about, I think it helps a little bit. Yeah, I think you got the most popular guy winning. It's like he's almost like the Tiger Woods effect in a certain degree. When Tiger Woods is playing well, more people are going to watch. Tiger Woods was playing good Friday. Saturday, Sunday, not so much. So, for me, like I said, it's like, okay, I ain't going to watch him play bad golf type of thing. I think it's a lot like the Chase Elliott people. He's not winning. I'm not going to watch very much. Chase Elliott won. I'd say some fans are going to come back. So you're not going to see a huge spike. You're not going to see a huge difference, but you're going to see that needle go up a few tenths.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
I think Talladega always draws a big audience, whether that be on network or, going to the race. And I think the storyline next week is going to be Chase Elliott gets a win, viewership doubles for NASCAR, which we know is not the case because it's freaking Talladega. So, I think for sure, I like we talked about earlier, though, it couldn't have been scripted better for NASCAR this week. And with Chase Elliott getting the win right after the Masters gets over with, and that audience just automatically joins the race coverage. So I think it helps Chase Elliott getting the win for sure. I think the people that follow the sport, they never really stopped watching, but I do think that most people of sports are casual sports fans, and they catch games when they can, or watch Caitlin Clark or LeBron James or whoever that may be when they can. If it's on, they're going to watch them. So I think that definitely helps when people hear Chase Elliott won this week, and you go to Talladega next week. I think people are more apt to say, "Hey, I want to make sure I catch that race."
I'll be honest. Selfishly, I was hoping that Denny Hamlin would wreck Chase Elliott and win the race, because that would have been absolutely awesome storyline wise. It would go right into the heel versus faces thumbnails that we put on there. And on top of it, when Chase Elliott wins a race, there is nothing more boring than hearing Chase Elliott talk about winning a race. I mean,
yeah, he was like, yeah, good win.
I've been more excited to not burn a grilled cheese than that guy was to win that race. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. And like, you just see all these emotions, like Sam Mayer, like ripping his shirt off because he beat Ryan Sieg, out of all people, in the Xfinity race. And then Chase Elliott wins for the first time in over a year. And he's like, cool. I'm like, God, what? It's just not, to me, it's not good for when Kyle Petty says the sport has no superstars, it's because people like Chase Elliott, that they do nothing to drive the entertainment value of this sport. And I just, selfishly, I was hoping Denny would win. I put Denny on the thumbnail, Wrecking Joe, just for you. So I figured that would help your morale.
It did.
But it just makes so much better storylines and rivalries and things of that nature if Denny Hamlin wins that and Chase gets second, because people are pissed. Everybody's pissed. I mean, like, I'm not pissed, but everybody else is pissed. And, that's what we need is some artificial rivalries in this sport with personality. And when Chase Elliott wins, that dude has zero personality. I mean, even his interview with Dale Earnhardt Jr. was informative, but it was not entertaining. I listened, but
I'm sorry. One of the biggest storylines to me, though, coming out of that race, because at the end of the day, like the text that you sent us in our group, oh, now we have Ross Chastain up there that doesn't give a fuck. And yeah. I will be 100% honest with you. I was surprised to watch Ross Chastain race for the lead as cleanly as he did in that last restart. I mean, that was pretty impressive on him.
He didn't want another Rick Hendrick call. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
He was like, I think if it was anybody else in that car, if it wasn't Hendrick, I think he raced a little bit different. I didn't think he wanted another Rick Hendrick call.
And I don't want to get on a tangent, but if a guy calls me from a competitor that doesn't pay my paychecks, shut the like, who are you? Leave me. Click. What are you calling me for? I don't give a
you don't want me to wreck.
You don't want Kyle Larson. Hey, it's Joe Gibbs on the phone. He's pissed. I don't give a fuck. Hang up on him. Who cares? Like, I give a shit that Rick Hendrick's calling if I'm Ross Chastain. But it's changed him. He's not been the same guy ever since. So he said something. I don't know. Maybe he threatened to kill his niece or something. I don't know.
He said, son, I actually run this sport, and if you do that again, you won't be a part of it.
That's right.
That's what it
Don't
said.
go off the script. You're probably right. We have Easy E. Don't hang up on Chevy's top dog. Chastain has gotten better. They're better at mile and a halves. That's why I chose both Trackhouse cars this week, because they are better at mile and a halves.
You're right, Easy. The Polish victory lap was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I do disagree with this. You can win with a 5th and 10th place car, because we saw it today. Maybe like a 12th or 13th place car, if you have the right strategy and you have a car that's very difficult to pass in. It's all about where you are on the track. So back in the old days, it was speed, driver, and pit crew. Today it's position, dirty air, and fast pit crew. And today they did that. So congratulations to them. But we want to get to where Joe's favorite driver finished. So let's go ahead and do that.
Haley got him by 1,000th of a second. He's in front of William
by whoa, in the wall goes J.J. Haley.
Oh man. Wow.
He was driving bangers somewhere this weekend at some random obscure dirt track with like 75 people there.
That's where JJ was this week.
He got him by 1,000th of a second. He's in front of William
By whoa, in the wall goes J.J. Elliott.
Oh, man.
And for
He's a
you,
good guy.
and for you people that are very frustrated that you just had to watch 2 videos of JJ Haley, suck it. I don't care. It is what it is. Welcome to Second to Catch Fence. We care about people, Joe. We care about the little man.
Yeah, we care about JJ.
So, well, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys all joining. Joe, Travis, great job as usual. For you guys commenting, we appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. We've got some things in the works, probably some hosted iRacing sessions that we're looking at to, well, yeah. I'm not convinced that Joe hasn't done some practice laps whenever some of those videos went through. But yeah, we'll have some hosted iRacing sessions going on. We'll make those fun, take your chats and be a part of that as well. All kinds of different things planned. And I don't know what happened to Travis. He might be stroking out.
Is
That's what
he
happened.
there?
I don't know. He might be drinking too many Pepsis. But yeah. So. All right. I just completely right in the middle of me ending this, but just the best of the best talent here at Stuff in the Catch Fence. If you want to follow us, so we don't have to look at the deadless glaze of Travis Butt's eyeballs, there's a way to do it. Facebook, Patreon, Rumble. We do a weekly show. We have shorts on the channel, iRacing, betting, which we will be getting back to next week due to some scheduling conflicts and anything else. So, yeah. Well, Joe, do you have anything to say?
No. Let's get after it next week. Us 3, we're about to get after it right now. Get our driving on. So we'll be on there if anybody wants to jump on and find us wherever we're at.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah. So appreciate it, guys. Travis, you got anything to say?
Nope.